Welcome to the Chamber's Elevated Conversations podcast. And now, your host, Dave Eckmann.
Hi, welcome to this edition of Elevated Conversations podcast by the Greater Wausau Chamber of Commerce. My name is Dave Eckmann, the host of the program. In the Wausau community, many organizations have been impacted by closures and the Safer at Home orders by the governor. And in that is the arts and culture community. And today we're going to be joined by Sean Wright, the executive director of the Grand Theater in Wausau, spectacular venue for arts and entertainment in our community. So, Sean, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Sean, I've known you for some years now, and you've done a fantastic job with the Grand Theater and repositioning, coming out of the Great Recession and where it is today. And myself, I work and live in the downtown Wausau area, and I can tell you that I really miss seeing the vibrancy of the people walking around in the cars full right around the 400 block, and really miss the activity that the theater brought for commerce. And Sean, if you would, let's first let the audience understand where are you from?
Yeah, I grew up just south of St. Louis, Missouri, a small town called Festus, and did my undergraduate work at Westminster College in Fulton, Missouri, which is famous because that's where Winston Churchill gave the Iron Curtain speech. So as I worked in the athletic department through college, my offices were actually in the historic gymnasium. It was never the gymnasium; it was always the historic gymnasium. Did my graduate work at the University of North Carolina, and through the years. Worked in the athletic world and then moved over to the arena world at Samford University and then transitioned to the arts and entertainment and theater world and have been here in Wausau now a little over 5 years. The opportunity to come run the Grand was an outstanding one, and I'm glad my wife and I made the move here and are part of this fantastic community.
Thank you, and thanks for being here too. No better time and place than to have you at the helm at this organization for today and in the future. So as we look at the arts and culture community, especially as for the Grand, you and I have had conversations in the past with respect to the economic impact. A figure that you've shared with me before is the economic value that the Grand brings in, a $10 million figure. Could you share a little bit more with the audience about that figure, please?
Yeah, in a given year, we're bringing 130,000 people through our doors, and the thing that really makes our venue and our organization unique is that our radius is north to the UP. We draw patrons, and going northwest, we've got patrons, Bayfield area Ashland who come down. We draw folks, halfway over to the Eau Claire area, southwest to Rapids and Toma, and and we draw a lot of folks who use an opportunity to enjoy all the resources that the community has to offer. During the winter, we see folks who are here for a weekend of skiing, and then they're adding a show at the Grand on Friday night, or they're on their way to a property up north during the fall, and they stop here because they like everything the community has to offer. And that's the thing compared to a lot of performing arts centers, which are if they're in a major metropolitan area, they're drawing strictly from that area. We are really drawing from throughout, and that adds to what you were talking about. Folks aren't just coming to the Grand and getting in their car, driving here, parking in a parking garage, walking in, seeing the show, walking back out. That's just not what our audience does, and so they're here. They're eating before the show, or grabbing a drink before the show, or coming to the show, or staying downtown and making a full evening of it. And so that's what contributes to that economic impact figure, and just the fact that we are extremely busy. Current time aside, it's not just our presented shows, but the local groups who call our space home. It's the weddings and meetings and social events and conferences, and 315 days we were up in 2019 in one of our spaces, and so Yeah, right now is very, very strange to us. None of us can remember a time when we've been dark, more than 7 days in a row. So to have what will be a minimum about 60-day shutdown is very, very strange and very different for us.
Yeah, it has to be really with the business that you're in. So, how many shows did you do last year?
We did show-wise, counting all the seasons, we were in rental shows. We were probably well north of 100 shows last year. Wow. And then going into this year, because we sold out 31 shows last year, which is pretty amazing, and that doesn't even include some of the dance recitals and things of that nature. And no, just even in this shutdown time, starting with we literally had a show loaded in Waitress, the first of a 2-day Broadway run when the restrictions came down and the state of emergency came down, and so we'll just from March 13th through the end of May, that's 15 main stage performances as part of our series, plus rental shows like Ron White and dance recitals and a little bit of everything. So yeah, it's quite the change for us, and really forcing us to sort of pivot at this time as to how we best serve the community.
Yeah, it is so important. The arts, culture, and restaurants are really at the heartbeat of the community, and important to maintain that sense moving through this crisis. So when you're looking, as we look at opening up, what do you see different for your venue and for the arts, as social distancing, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us in the arts industry and really the broader entertainment industry, we're having to figure out what that new normal looks like. I mean, do we, are we looking at things like, completing the move to digital ticketing, something we're already looking at, eliminating those contact points in terms of, programs and tickets, better spacing out bars and points of sale to create some space for the audience. The challenge for us is obviously within the theater itself, 1,208 people, and you can run all the modeling you want about, could we do shows with 400, with 600? For us, it's just not viable, the types of touring performances that we're bringing in, to do them at, 40, 50% capacity. And so, do we have to look at, contingency plans with agents and with artists and fees, and, really every day is kind of a different day as we look at that. And, we're still planning to move forward with the season. I mean, our plan, we'll have a virtual announcement. I mean, they're starting with that. That's the biggest change. We'd always have a giant preview party and invite 1,000 people here to find out about the new season. Well, it's all going to be virtual now. We're going to do a live online preview party and announce the season that way, and just things as simple as, do we create multiple points of sale for our box office throughout the facility to spread things out? We're all sort of learning as we go and adjusting every day, and and understand that the whole arts and culture industry, the arts and culture world, and the entertainment world, we're not alone in this. We're all trying to figure it out as we embrace whatever this new normal is going to be.
Right, and I think that's really important for our public to understand, the people listening to this, is that if there's any way that we can help to support the arts and culture community, especially the Grand Theater, in terms of funding, donations, and different programming that you offer, we really need to step up and help in that respect. And now I'm looking at your website as we're talking. I see your building every day when I take my dogs out on the 400 block, and I love your inspirational messages. But now I'm looking at your website, so I see your brick and mortar. Now I'm looking at your digital format. You have an abundance of program on that front page. Could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, we really made the decision almost immediately that we wanted to stay relevant and stay connected to our patrons and explore the digital space. And the response has been fantastic. Fortunately, I've got a great marketing team who we've all sort of created ideas and gone with different things, and frankly, the engagement that we've gotten, in the digital space has just been exceptional. I mean, it's actually exceeded what we're seeing at times when we have shows. So, we really the things that I'm most proud of. We created our social distance spotlight. Of course, there's so many students and performers who didn't get the opportunity to have their spring musicals, their senior concerts, their recitals. And so we created an opportunity for students to do that. We've gotten submissions from students, frankly, across the state. And now I think we're getting some into Michigan and Minnesota as well. And we share one of those a week. And, instead of them singing on our stage or on their college or high school stage, they're in their, living room, sunroom, wherever, and they're sharing their performances with everybody. And the response we've gotten from that have been sensational. We started a virtual concert series called Quarantunes. Yes, we've had local artists. Yeah, we've had local artists. We've had artists from our 10 by 10 series. We've had Haley Loren, on Thursday night, and I think that got over 5,000 views in the first 24 hours, and we're using that as a way to not only support the artists, but we ask people to donate, their cover charge or their cost of a drink. Either donate it to the artist or donate it to the Community Foundation's COVID-19 Relief Fund. We're doing Broadway watch parties. We're trying to generate content that's out there. And then we actually, I had the crazy idea that we needed to put together one of those videos where everybody comes together. And so we actually, Kate Chris on my staff, she and I worked with 35 different presenters across Wisconsin, Illinois, and Iowa with a message of hope that the show will go on. And that video it's being shared on all of our websites, all of our social media channels. And when that premiered, it was pretty cool for me for a day or two to see all my colleagues and friends and venues sharing the same message of unity that, we don't know exactly when and we don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but the show is going to go on. The arts have always persevered. They're going to persevere again. There are challenges ahead, but we're going to get through it and we're going to be back in our spaces. And so, that's probably our biggest thing right now. We want to send that message of hope to people. This is a challenging time and we want to be back just as soon as we possibly can, but when the time is right.
Right. Well, I can tell you that I appreciate and we appreciate from the Chamber of Commerce everything that you do for this community and your team. I've had an opportunity to interact with your team on several events, and you're a lot of fun, and you bring a lot of enthusiasm to the work that you do. You sounds like you're making some innovations, some big innovations along the way. You're learning about the future.
Absolutely. And I think it's kind of, it's interesting. When we started this content, and we're not alone. There are people doing amazing content in the arts throughout our industry. Yeah, but when we started this, it was totally we need to do this in this specific time and space to stay connected. Now we realize, no, a lot of these things they're going to continue on. People are connecting to them. People are consuming the content in a different way, and and we're just going to continue to innovate. Nothing's going to replace being in the theater and having that shared experience of a performance, and but a lot of these things are going to continue on, and if there's some bit of good to come out of this these unprecedented times, it's that perhaps we've found a way to reinvent our industry a little bit and have something that's going to continue on long past the time that we're all together again in shared spaces.
You're the third person I've talked to today that has ended on that note, on a very positive note, that in the midst of this crisis, there's some things that are coming out of it. So I want to thank you, Sean. You are right. The show will go on. And thank you for your time today. And folks, I encourage you to go out to Sean's website, go to the Grand Theater's website, and see everything that they have to offer. Sean, thank you for your time today.
Thanks so much. My pleasure.
Okay, Sean, thank you very much.
This podcast episode is a production of the Greater Wausau Chamber of Commerce.